The information in this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Consult your healthcare provider for proper care regarding your specific situation.
Welcome to Rattled Nurses, the podcast that's here to shake things up when it comes to pregnancy, breastfeeding, and postpartum care. Hosted by two experienced nurses, we're bringing you real talk, expert advice, and a whole lot of laughs as we navigate the wild world of newborn care.
Whether you're a first-time parent or adding another little one to the mix, we've got the tips, stories, and answers you need to make this journey a little easier and a lot more fun. So grab your coffee, even if it's cold, get comfy, and let's dive in.
Happy Wednesday, everybody! It's episode 15. We're going to talk about baby-proofing your home because that is important. But first, a joke. A joke.
A joke.
Okay, so I have to do a cheese-related one. It was a request. So, which cheese is the loneliest cheese? It's provolone.
Oh, poor provolone.
All right. This one's pretty easy, too. Which cheese is the most religious cheese? Swiss cheese, because it's holy.
Of course. Of course that's it.
They're so dumb, but funny. Cheesy jokes.
Well, I prefer baby Swiss.
Ah, that would have been a good one.
There you
There you go.
So what do you call a fake noodle?
No idea.
An impasta. I think I'm
love it.
hungry. Pasta and cheeses.
Oh, yeah. I have those in my fridge. I'll do that when I get home. Anyway, okay. So obviously baby-proofing your home can prevent child injury and or death. That we're going to be talking about lots of things. Like, it's pretty extensive when you really kind of get into the nitty-gritty of it. So we're going to kind of try to condense it. But anywho, if you're not able to, they do recommend trying to get your baby-proofing done before the child is mobile, or like including rolling around. Usually about 4 to 6 months-ish. Mm-hmm. However, if you're not able to, or your partner's not able to, or just whatever life happens, there are professional services that actually come and do these things as well. So you can look into that just depending on like your metroplex, where you are. But yeah, so we're going to talk a bit about that. So there's also, okay, one of my favorite things, I think Delane and I were looking at many of the same lists, but one of my favorite ones that's pretty dang extensive, and we'll put the link in there, is it was from thebump.com.
Lots of good info.
There's lots of, not just in baby care, but the child proofing list is pretty extensive. So it's good. It picks up things that you probably would never have thought of. So
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So we'll probably take it, depending on how you want to do it, room by room, just to kind of go do like an overview of things to kind of look for, things to watch out for. Oh, and another thing I read is that, I mean, this makes sense, but think of when you're like down on your hands and knees, kind of going through the house, like, and that's what they recommend doing, which sounds silly, but it is. Get your everything from a baby's eye view.
Yes.
When you're down on your hands and knees looking for stuff, looking for cracks, crevices, if you find anything that can fit through a toilet paper holder, it is a choking hazard. Pick it up, throw it away, get rid of it, do whatever. It's gonna go in their mouth. Whether it tastes good or not, they don't care. They're going to put it up and put it in their mouth. Mm-hmm. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Everything goes in the mouth.
Yep.
Everything. Edible or not.
Yep.
Okay. So we're starting with living room.
We can go with living room. Yeah.
All right.
So a lot of us are around most of the time. So.
Yes. So what stands out to me most is most people nowadays, or I would say maybe not most, a lot of people don't have their televisions anchored to the wall.
Yeah.
And those, nowadays, they're so lightweight.
They are.
When I was little. 100 years ago.
But it's a big top and you can't even pull it around. Yes.
Yes. So, anchoring those down so they don't tip those over on top of themselves.
Yeah. Or I don't have mine anchored to the wall. I don't have kids, but I don't have mine anchored to the wall. But if it's not, if it's sitting on a surface, make sure it's secured, because if there is any sort of ledge or anything, they're going to try to pull up on it and it's going to come down. So they're going to mess with it.
Yes.
But yeah, TVs, shelves, tall wobbly lamps, they'll grab it. So put those somewhere where they're not able to get to it.
Absolutely. Anything on a coffee table.
Oh,
really?
Yes.
Knickknacks. You don't need those now. They're going to get broken.
Yep.
I would say, really, you want to put those away for probably about 2 or 3 years.
Just put them in a box. Things that used to live in my house as decoration.
Yep. We have nothing now that shows personality unless it's anchored to the wall. So, but yes, tables, anything with drawers in it that will pull out, because my own personal experience with one of my kiddos trying to climb in those drawers, and then it all tries to tip over on you. And that's a really dangerous thing that sends a lot of kids to the ER.
A lot of people forget, like, just any dresser or large appliance, or large furniture, they will climb, they will pull on it, and if it's not secured, if it's not anchored to the wall with like some sort of furniture restraint, it can possibly topple over on them and they may not survive it, just depending on how heavy that piece of furniture is. So,
and there's so many good and different types of wall anchors that you can get just on Amazon.
Yeah, there are.
There's some that look really, where you need to get a screwdriver into the wall and all kinds of things. But then there's some that are a little bit easier. But I really like those where they screw into the wall. It's anchored. It's not going anywhere.
Most appliances, I will say, most appliances come with that these days, because I've bought a few appliances in the past few years. And I'm like, what is this? Oh, it's a wall anchor for child safety. Of course, I don't use it, but those are on Amazon. There's lots of good baby proofing things all over that. But
yes, and another big thing is fireplaces.
Yes,
there are. You can buy big baby gates that will encompass the whole area of the fireplace where they can't even get near it. I guess you would really need that if you were actually burning a fire, but if you just have like a raised, like a brick ledge for your fireplace or something, you can get those baby bumpers.
Yes.
That you can wrap around the corner, because oh my gosh, I can just picture a child slamming their head on that and busting it wide open.
Absolutely. Any pokey, sharp surfaces like your hearths, your tables, anything with a pointy surface, please cover it. I will tell you this, when I was young, and my dad brought this back up to me because he does listen to our podcast, but my dad brought this back up because he said when we were younger, my cousin and I, we were running around the house. And of course, we're like right at under the table height. And my cousin got under there, and apparently there was underneath the table, there are these ledges.
Oh, yeah.
And so he said my cousin just rammed right into there on that ledge, and just big old gash open. So he had to go in, flip the table upside down, and then saw everything down, file everything down. But it's things like that. You just don't think of those things because you don't see them. And so
you're right. Another instance of where getting down on their level.
Gosh,
probably see a lot.
Yes. You're oh.
This is bad.
Any cords?
Long drapes hanging.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the cords that are attached to the blinds. A lot of them are the looped cords. And of course, a kid's going to get their head in there and then get stuck. So those are risk for strangulation, of course. Blinds themselves, they can get stuck in there doing whatever because they're kids. So they'll just do nothing and get stuck. But any of those, risk for injury, strangulation. Remote controls.
Oh, yes.
They'll take out the batteries.
For sure.
There's little fingers that just
Oh, my
want to mess with
gosh.
stuff.
And batteries are so dangerous for the kiddos.
Yes.
Especially if you have anything with the button batteries. Kids can swallow those
I
so
didn't think
easy
about
you'll
that.
never know. And
Yep.
there have been kids actually that did not make it after they ingested those because they don't know. I mean,
No.
there can be no clue that they've swallowed anything. You just can't figure out why they're having these weird symptoms.
things.
And then a lot of times when they find it
Yeah.
through an x-ray or something that they're doing, it's way
Yeah.
down in the gut, and they're just
Battery
so bad.
acid, yeah. So batteries, anything with a
It's-
battery, either
yes.
hide the remote, pick up the remote, or tape it down so they can't
Exactly.
get to it. So lots of things. Let's see. We'll go over this multiple times, but smoke detectors. Smoke detectors. If there is a smoke detector, like ideally one in multiple places to smoke detectors, but carbon monoxide detectors, at least a couple of those on every floor you should have one. We only have like one in our house, but
Wow.
yeah. When I was younger, this is how cute my parents are. When I was younger, my dad used to pack my overnight bag, and we go to sleepovers or whatever. But he wasn't sure if the other house had smoke detectors or not, so he would always pack one in my overnight bag.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Yeah, so I remember that now, and I'm like, it was actually at the time I'm like, oh, Dad, I don't need that, it's fine. But now I'm like, safety, you never know, man.
Exactly.
Spent too much on this kid, can't lose it now.
Yes, he was thinking about you.
Yeah, he was.
Thinking of everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, that's what parents do.
Yep.
We worry about our kids.
Apparently, we just all run around with them. We're a little trying to kill ourselves. All right, got living room. Anything else for your living rooms?
Not that I can think of right now, but the kitchen. That's the biggest concern.
That's
I
a
think
big
would be
concern. Yeah.
in my house. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
want every drawer locked down almost.
Everything off the
Between-
floor.
Well, and I can say that I guess probably the biggest mishap I ever had with my kids in the kitchen. I'm a great mom.
That's why we're here. We're telling stories. People learn.
Well, my oldest didn't do it, but my youngest, she burned her hand on the stovetop.
I did that
and,
too. Yeah, I did that too.
Well, and there was warning even. She 2 or 3, I don't remember, maybe 3. She came in the kitchen. I was making a quick dinner, and I'd moved a boiling pot of vegetables. It was done. Move it up to the back, and I'm doing something else. And I told her, "Don't touch that. It's hot." So what'd she do?
Touch. Did the same thing.
Yeah.
Did the same thing.
And the whole surface of her palm.
Yep.
It was horrible.
And then there's just freak accidents too. Like when I was younger, my mom was cooking and I got my little step stool and I'm just watching her. Freak accidents happen. She was making fried eggs and of course the oil goes
Oh, yeah.
right in my eyeball. She felt so bad. Like how would she have ever predicted that? But
Right.
so that was something that was brought up on the website we were looking at is cook on the back burners. Because
Yes.
if their little hands can.
But
Yeah.
speaking of, I found a cool gadget on Amazon.
The cover.
Yes.
The covers.
The whole, where you can just cover like the whole surface of an electric stovetop burner with the mat that won't freaking melt. and-
Like a silicone mat or something. Yeah.
Way cool.
Yep.
So
There's those, and then there's like the
that
whole,
is amazing.
the whole sets where that cover all the buttons and the knobs too.
Yes.
So
I like those. And then the latch for even that for the oven door.
yes, and I was gonna say careful of that because they'll pull down the oven door, and that's a fun little step for them to step on to get up to the stove in which they can touch the hot things. So
Yeah. And it might be a fun little place to crawl in.
yeah,
Can I fit in this box?
probably. Let's not though.
Exactly. Please, no.
No, they're a mess.
So yeah, there's locks and latches for all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I really think about drawers with your kitchen knives.
The knives, yes. Don't put your knives on the counters. We're going to secure those. You're going to need like 495,000 cabinet and drawer locks, like just for every stinking room everywhere. Anything that's got something in it, it's going to have a little hand opening it. So knives, of course, glassware, dishes, things like that. Secure them in a cabinet. Lock. Make sure the cabinet has a cabinet lock. And again, lots of things for like that on Amazon. So
tons, yes. And I even keep like, common over-the-counter medications that anybody would need in there. Heartburn medications, Tylenol, Motrin, that kind of stuff. You want to be sure and put away also because, Tylenol sounds harmless, but it can be lethal if somebody gets too much in their system.
Been there, done that. When I was little.
Oh, Lord. You were trouble.
I was trouble. So just FYI, if something ever happens, and we'll post this as well, poison control is available. And I was going to say this at the end, but I think it's 1-800-222-1222. Yes. So that's poison control. And there are some things that if you have to contact poison control for, they will do a CPS referral. But if it's accidental things, like just a couple medicines, you only get so many calls a year before they're like, oh, all right, like you've not done your work. Here, let's.
Well, they're very kind, though. I do have to say that because I have had to call them on 2 or 3 different occasions throughout the years.
And that's what I think. My mom had a call on me twice in 1 year. And I think they did tell her after the first time was either Tylenol or aspirin. There was like a bottle that had fallen behind the bed. And of course, I was behind the bed for whatever reason. And decided I will take all of these, I guess. And I think my cousin was there too.
They look like M&Ms.
Yeah, I think my cousin was there too. I gave him like maybe 1 or 2, took the rest. Tracks.
You shared.
Just a little bit.
Sharing
He's a boy. I'm the oldest. They're all mine. And the next one, I think later that year, was China berries, which is part of the backyard too. China berries, very toxic, delicious looking little berry that was in our neighbor's. It was the neighbor's house behind us, and they dropped their China berries. And of course, I'm over there like, do, 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 do. And so poison control is like, okay, if you call one more time, we're going to have to do a CPS referral. But just so you know.
But it's always better to call.
Yeah, it's always better to call.
CPS can, do their referrals and stuff and fine, there's nothing wrong. They're not looking. Yes. They're not looking to.
I'm sure they just have a protocol in which they have to do it. Right. So yes.
I would rather call and have the referral than
for sure.
But I think when we called, I think it was like, I don't remember which kiddo. One was little and I didn't know Ed had already given the nighttime medications, and then I gave the nighttime medications, and then after we talked, we're like, oh, wait. We just doubled up on.
Oh, well. They're real sleepy now.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't remember what the other one was. I know I've talked to him twice over the years, though.
It is better to call and,
And as a school nurse, I even had to call them from the
that's
school.
right. Well, you talked about that.
Yeah. One of the students was making her sister something in the morning. I don't know if she thought it was chocolate milk or something. She was mixing something, but instead of it being like a syrup or something, she poured leather cleaner into it. And
it might have been a similar bottle. Poor little thing can't read, probably. Yeah. This works. Looks different.
And then we came to school with an upset tummy, and Mom told me everything, and we made a little phone call. But everything worked out fine. But needless to say, they're wonderful to talk to. They're very knowledgeable. They have doctors from, I felt like, all different areas there, as well as they told me they had veterinarians on call as well.
That tracks. There's a lot of
helped.
Yeah,
and I actually had them come to the school and do a presentation.
Wow.
And the kids loved it. It was they were so engaging, and I did not expect all that. But I think the kids loved that more than when the tooth fairy come to the school or whatever. It was really interesting.
That's funny. I didn't know they did that either.
They do.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay, I got a little off track there.
Yeah, that happens.
Anyway, the point is, lock up your medications.
All the medications. Yes, there are definitely like prescription medications for sure that are on like my husband told me about a one pill kill list. So if they even just taking one can significantly harm your child. So, yes, like Elena was saying, lock up your medications, secure your cabinets, things like that.
And there's a lot of appliance, I would think, that could be pulled off too. Like Keurigs aren't that big.
No,
kid could,
for sure.
If cords are hanging anywhere near the edge,
they're gonna pull it.
Pull a cord, so make sure those are all
secured and unplugged.
Yes.
Because if it's, even just like a toaster oven, they get a little step stool up there because they're mischievous. They get a little step stool, stand up there, put their hand in something or a fork in something, and it's still plugged in.
Right.
You never know. This looks like it could go in here. So, yes, preventing death, injury, please. Remove tablecloths and runners. Sorry, you probably want your house to look good, but not anymore. Tablecloths and runners, like that's a good pull. They're going to pull on it. And then so anything that's on the table is going to come right back down on them. So,
yeah. They're probably not fast enough to do the magic
trick.
No. No.
They're like, I'm just trying to stand up beside me in the face.
Oh, poor babies.
Well, we all learn. We're squishy for a reason when we're young.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Non-slip rugs, something I was looking up too, or either non-slip rugs or put anti-skid, because it's not just things that might harm the baby, but also things for when you are carrying around baby, you don't want to slip on a rug and then fall down with your child. So make sure like your bath mats and your rugs in your kitchen, your rugs in your living room, rugs in the nursery, everything's got either is non-skid or has got non-skid like under surface. So those things too, things you don't want to trip on when you've got a wiggly child attached to you and you can't see what's on the floor in front of you. So
yes, and I would say any furniture you have that's near a window, like if they can open the window, just rearrange, move it away from the window, or put those locking
I was going to say
mechanisms on the window. You can get those, again, real cheap on Amazon. They're just real little, and you can just screw them on, and then they can't push that window up.
Yep. So that's everything. Room to room in your house. Doors, cabinets, windows, anything.
Yep.
All right. Absolutely. Anything for the kitchen? We're out of the kitchen?
I think we're out of the kitchen.
Okay. Next, we'll do the nursery. So I think we all want to think that the nursery is relatively a safe place, but when they become extra mobile, they want to still explore everything. They're all going to be little WrestleMania participants jumping off stuff, climbing on stuff. So another thing I read that was interesting is I didn't think about it. Of course, you're going to lower the mattress in your crib so they can't climb out and over. Lower that down. But pull it away from your windows, your furniture, things like that. Because again, they'll try to climb on the edges and then climb on other things. So, and you don't want them to fall out the window or fall into the window or fall into something else. So again, back to the windows. Make sure your windows are latched, and on the floor, make sure there's nothing that can go in their mouth and be a choking hazard.
Yeah, I feel like the nursery covers a lot of that, covers the same.
Yeah, it does. It's a lot of repetition, but it still is just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Every room.
Every room. It's everything. So, again, furniture restraint. So I'm sure they have little bookshelves or whatever. So make sure you got some sort of furniture restraint on the back of your belongings so that it doesn't tip over on them when they try to climb up and pull it down.
Because they will.
They will. Yep. Oh, this I thought was a good one. The toy boxes, which I never thought of. So a lot of them have like toy bins, and either the lids make it lidless, so it doesn't have a lid. So they can't get their fingers pinched in, either in the hinges or like they have safety hinges where it doesn't like come down so quick.
A soft close.
Yeah. Or that it has holes in it in case they get trapped inside. I know. Yeah. Those types of things. I was like, dang. How do we survive as a species?
Right. For real.
How are we surviving as a species? So yes, they can crawl on their little toy bins and either pinch their fingers. They can get stuck. They can trap themselves in, and so those lots of those types of things. So
yeah, wow. Yeah, that's the one thing I hadn't thought about was them getting stuck inside, kind of like. If they can get outside and get into the car, kind of thing too, and get stuck inside. So those child safety locks. We need something like that for the toy box. You only get in when I say you get in.
We have on one of our walls, I've got this secret storage case. I'm Texan, so you can imagine what lives in it. But the unlocking mechanism is like you have to carry this thing around, and then you have to wave it over magnetically, and then you'll hear it unclick, and then you can press it open, and it comes out. But they have a lot of those on Amazon,
the magnetic locks.
Yeah,
I do love those. I remember my kids' pediatrician. They had those in all the exam rooms.
Yeah.
And so every doctor or provider would just carry that little lock around in their pocket, and you just see them whip it out and wave it over the magnet. I thought that was the coolest thing.
But remember to lock it back if it doesn't lock back automatically.
Right.
But yeah, it's when the magnet kind, just wave it over it. And
yeah, I like it.
They
like
see that stuff too. They know.
It's magic.
So when we were younger, kids, they're smarter than they look. They do dumb things, but they're smarter than they look. Because I go back and I'm like, again, how did I survive? So my dad, we had firearms growing up. Lock up your firearms in a case.
Again, Texas.
But he had this tiny little key, which was like, didn't even look like a key. It was just a little barrel with some little things on it. And it was for a weapons case. And I knew exactly where it was because he put it on a little salt shaker in like the very top of our spice cabinet. And what did I try to do? Climb on, find that salt shaker, and I'm like, I'm going to go open it. See that he had to hide it like different places from here on out.
Oh my God.
I know.
So what was your intent?
I was a horrible kid.
What was your intent when you got to the lock?
Nothing. I just wanted to see what was in there and why we needed a lock for it. And I wasn't like...
So your parents could walk in and you can scare the crap out of them.
I wasn't like... I just wanted to know that I could do it. That was more along the lines. It was just like, I need to... They're doing this, but I want to see if I can get into it too.
Right.
Like just my whole resilience, irreverent personality. Like that's what I did. And so I think when I tried... Like, I think he... can't remember, but I think he caught me beforehand. He's like, absolutely not. And then he had to start showing me the reason why we don't touch those things. And then I was like, okay, I just wanted to know why. Just wanted to know.
I feel like, a lot of things you just have to explain the reasons why. Even with our patients. Just us telling them, to do or not to do something, they're not going to do it. But if we explain the reason behind it,
they might listen.
They might
probably
be more compliant. Maybe
we try.
Same with kids.
Education,
we try.
Reinforced. Reinforced education. And my child. Okay, I think we're out of the nursery. Hide things. Hide your kids, hide your wives. You can check the American Academy of Pediatrics, the AAP, for recommendations on cribs, what's safe, recalls, of course. Check your crib every once in a while for splinters, sharp edges, pokey things. Stuff gets worn down. Oh, and don't attach things to the crib, like with cords. Or, of course, your anything to your child with a cord. But anything with cords, don't, they might, if you're just trying to store it somewhere and just hang it off the edge of the crib, if it's got a cord and they climb out, again, strangulation concern. So,
yep.
Okay.
All right. So Bedroom and bathroom.
Next room of the house, bedroom and bathroom. I feel like this one would be the hardest in our house. There's so much stuff.
I think kitchen in mine.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
There's just
Bedroom,
so much.
bathroom. I mean, yeah, we do have a locking safe. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dressers, again, windows, your razors, closets. Mm-hmm. Your razors, they might see you get out a razor and then see dad shaving and then want to mimic that. So then they want to mess with that too. Mm-hmm. I also read that if dad wears a tie and they want to try to put on a tie, then that's a strangulation issue. So those types of things, secure handbags. Mm-hmm. You know, if a baby
the straps
that tries to hold a handbag like mom does, they're just gonna do something ridiculous with it. Mm-hmm. You'd be like, how did you even get there? Like, how did this even happen?
There is no explanation.
Yes.
Toilet locks.
You don't want them to lick the inside of the toilet? Didn't we talk about that last time?
I felt like
Where's
we've come
Kaylee
really
when we
close
need
to that sometimes. We need public restroom toilet locks, right? Oh my goodness. No, I mean, really, I'd probably rather not pull all the toys and everything that get thrown into the bottom of the toilet.
Those go. If it goes in the toilet, it then goes in the trash.
That's right. Remove the baby dolls, the little Hot Wheels, and the trucks.
I didn't even think about that. I totally forgot that they just put stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
They're going swimming.
That's right. Yep. Maybe even the kiddo. I don't know.
Toilet locks. If you don't want a plumbing issue later on. Mm-hmm. Of course, cabinet locks again for all the chemicals, shampoos, things. They're going to try to drink it. Soft covers on knobs and spouts. Because again, if they're in the bathtub, they'll slip and fall and probably hit their face. Like, why would they not? And where else were they going to hit? Like, it has to be their face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, don't leave your child alone in the water.
And test the heat of the water.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes.
I did know somebody in the past who had burns on, both feet from like mid-calf down because she was left with a babysitter. The babysitter was going to give her a bath and didn't know how hot the water would get in their house, and she just ran the bath water, and then she picked her up and just stood her into the water, and she had horrible burns.
That's sad.
Yeah, and ended up on the burn unit in the hospital for a while.
I mean, they're little bodies that can. Just a little burn is a big percentage for them, so
it is.
Makes sense.
It is, and if they get a burn that you think might be serious, you do need to get them to the ER because they'll need treatment, IV fluids, and those bad burns down the road can lead to. When Autumn burned her hand when she was little, we were told that she might end up needing physical therapy on that hand to be able to use it.
Because things are still growing. Nerves are, if the fluids rush into the area, if you burn the nerves or something, Mm-hmm.
But the water temperature, always check it before you put your little ones in there.
Please do that. You wouldn't think those things have to be said, but
Right.
They have to for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
see.
Something I totally forgot about stairs. Like, again, that's one of those things, stairs.
Oh, yeah.
Baby gates on your stairs, top and bottom, and of course make sure the slats aren't so wide that they can shove their fat faces through and get stuck.
Well, and I like the ones which I've never lived in a house where we had stairs, so I didn't think about that. But I know there's safety gates where you just push them in there and then you expand it to fit, where it's snug. But I feel like way better is getting the metal ones that you actually screw into the wall.
Yes, the professional install ones. Yes. When my nieces and nephews were little, they still managed to mess up the press against the wall baby gates for our stairs.
And I feel like very easily.
Yes, they are. They'll mess with them. They'll mess them up. Absolutely. So if you know, especially if it's your first child and you're planning on having more, invest in like a decent drill into the wall, secure baby gates.
And they do look nice. They don't look tacky or anything.
Yeah, there are some that are just like they match either, you know, they're white, bronze, black, whatever color, and then they do look fancier than like your plastic ones.
And way more secure.
Yep. We had to get them for Kona when she was a puppy, and even she was able to like manage to break it down somehow, like the ones that have the pressure against the wall, like a shower curtain rod. I'm like, this isn't working. So
yeah. Well, some dogs are smarter than others. I think you've got a smart dog. My dog's not that smart.
Oh, poor Zeke. He tries.
My little weenie dog.
He tries.
He does. He's sweet though.
All right, back to the bathroom. Hot appliances, hair irons, hair dryers, curling irons. Even if it's not on, it will be turned on by little child sausage fingers. So
keep them unplugged.
Put away, things like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if they're not unplugged, again, it's a cord.
That's true. Strangulation.
So.
Seriously, how do we survive it as a human species? I don't get it.
I don't know. No seat belts and
I
all
know.
the things just out there for us to hurt ourselves with.
Back of the pickup truck.
On the window ledge. Yeah. Totally.
All right. Garage. The garage.
Oh, yeah. That's where everything's stored. All the extra gasoline.
All your chemicals.
Oils.
Put them either up high, get rid of them.
Insecticides.
All your bad things. Your car, if you keep your car in there, of course, like Delana was mentioning, they can get in the car and accidentally shut themselves inside. And if you live anywhere hot, like where we are, death risk. Like easy death risk.
Yeah.
Tools.
I was going to say all the tools. Yep. Keep that locked up.
Yep. I think most decent toolboxes have some sort of, again, like the pull down locking mechanism so they can't open them up. And
well, and then, you know, me living in the country, we have a riding lawnmower. You
Yeah.
keep that key accessible, you know. Those riding lawnmowers, there have been kids killed on riding lawnmowers and tractors. And it's always just terrible. But, yeah, it happens. It's not that uncommon.
Yeah. We used to keep our key in the golf cart, and you know, that can, you know, not as dangerous as a lawnmower, but they can still manage to get out and drive themselves into traffic.
Into
you never know.
Pond
or something else. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it's scary.
I know.
I'm glad my kids are grown.
I know. What else? Doors, just in general, front door, back door, garage door. If you don't have like some sort of sensor or lock or alarm, you know, maybe get one installed just so you can know, like, if there's an alarm going on, if your child opens a window or leaves the house. I know a lot of security systems these days are advanced enough to where, you know, they can have sensors on the windows, on the doors, so you can, and then you might get a notification on your phone, depending on how fancy, if something's open.
And you can even buy those on Amazon too.
Can you?
Yeah. It'll come with two little pieces, and you can put one on one side of the door frame and one on the actual door. And so if they sense that they're not right next to each other anymore, it'll just alarm, as long as you keep the batteries, you know, fresh in there.
Like our frickin' doors on our unit, when they don't touch each other and it screams all day. Fantastic.
But I mean, in your home,
Yeah.
that'd be great if you're like, oh crap, my kid's getting out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Again, when I was little, I'm such a horrible kid. I'm so sorry to my parents.
Tell me now.
We had this double latch. My dad installed a double latch at the top. What did I do? I was like, I'm going to get up there. I'm going to open it. I did. I think I got my butt whooped at that one. There were no alarms or sensors back then. So yes, doors, sensor doors.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh, well, not okay. So I guess that leads us into the backyard. I'm thinking sensors for your pool.
Yes.
I mean, first line of defense, I'd put it on the back door, but also even if a neighbor's kid got into the pool,
yes,
I'd want to know.
That's my biggest anxiety, I swear, like latches, gates, make sure your gates are latched, because if we do have a pool and we've got an 8-foot fence, but of course, again, we don't have children, so there's not a fence around the pool, not needed.
Right.
But if someone's kid were to get in, that would be, devastating for the family, but a liability on us as well. So, but there are a lot of incidences in the summer where people's kids will go outside, fall in the pool, like, cause it's uncovered, it's shiny, it looks fun. They know that it's fun. They'll get outside while mom's trying to take a shower or something completely innocent, and then fall in the pool. And it just takes them a second.
Yep.
So yes, the American Academy of Pediatrics does recommend at least a 4-foot fence around the pool, again with a sensed locking gate with a sensor. That made no sense, but locking gate with a sensor.
I knew what you meant.
Sensed, okay. That's a sensible gate.
That's right.
And again, they're not all horrendous looking. Like, there are decent looking ones. So they look, you can either have it professionally installed or do it yourself.
And again, backyard plants. You were talking about that.
Oh yeah,
earlier.
the Chinaberry tree. Yeah, poisonous plants. You might, whatever you have back there.
There's a lot of poisonous.
There's a lot of poisonous plants. We had to de-poison plant our backyard for the dog, because of course she's gonna chew on everything. And when she was a puppy, she did. But yeah, there's a lot of very poisonous plants with poisonous berries, poisonous flowers, and why would they not shove a pretty looking flower in their mouth? Like, this looks delicious. Like I did with the China berries. So
there are some that are edible, but
a lot of them are not. If they're pretty, they're usually poisonous. Don't quote me on that.
I was going to say, I have eaten a pretty flower, but I know this is crazy.
What?
Okay. Rabbit trail. We're going off again. But seriously, in Mexico, we did this excursion, and we love to do the ones with chefs who teach you how to, cook a dish.
Things,
and then you eat. Well, we made one, and it had this sauce, and it literally had like finely ground up hibiscus flowers.
I was going to say
in it.
hibiscus is edible. Yes.
And it was good.
Hibiscus is edible.
Yeah. So there are a few.
Okay, there are.
For all intents and purposes with this, just
look it up first.
Yeah.
Before, we have those cocomelon vines. They look like poison ivy, but they're not. And my husband wants to rip them out every year, but I'm like, no, they'll grow things. And they're non-toxic if they're green, but they look like tiny grapes that taste like cucumbers. And I love them.
That's such a brain trip.
It is. And I love them. They just look like little grapes.
Like green ketchup.
Yeah.
I don't know. But okay.
Cucumber? Ketchup?
No. I said that's a brain trip, kind of like green ketchup.
I forgot about that.
Remember back in the day?
They had green and purple ketchup.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Oh, that was so weird.
That was weird.
Okay. But
Today's Rabbit Trail is brought to you by Dutch Brothers. Dutch Brothers, hint, hint. Anyway, so yes, but if they ripen too long and they turn into like dark colored ones, like purple, like deep purple, then they become like they have a laxative effect.
Oh.
So just things,
right.
just random things that grow. Yeah. Dandelions are good for your heart, so there's that. Okay.
That's interesting.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Didn't know that. Learn something new every day.
So poisonous plants, look them up. Make sure they're not poisonous. It will go in your kid's mouth. Rocks. If you got like rocks and stuff in your backyard as decoration, again, if it can fit through a toilet paper tube or paper towel tube, it's choking hazard. So, let's see. And of course, wires and furniture and anything outside. If you're fancy and have like outdoor grills and stuff, anything like that.
We so fancy.
Outdoor kitchen. I don't have those things, but
Garden hoses.
Could
pose a threat, a risk. Yep. So, and then of course any fire pits that you're using.
they'll crawl right into that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Crawl right into that.
So, and it takes a long time for, the heat to die down once you put out a fire pit. I mean, like we're talking the next day.
The next day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that would always be something I'd watch carefully if you had little ones out there. And
even dogs. Kona would like to try to jump in them. I'm like, dear God, no. Or even the fireplace. I had to get something to protect our fireplace inside just because she'd be like, that is a big stick and I think I want it. Like,
oh my gosh.
She would get in there. So we had to put like one of those glass doors on it. That stick is for me, yes.
It's a big flaming stick.
It's a big flaming stick.
It's so pretty.
And of course, anything or anywhere where there is alcohol, secure it, lock it. If you have nicotine, whether that's, your vapes, cigarettes, whatever kind of tobacco, secure that. They're going to eat that too. And any other restricted substances. Wink, wink. Those types of substances, gummies, like a lot of we're legalizing like CBD and THC based things everywhere. And yes, they come in fun, colorful packages like a child might want to open and eat. So, and they probably will. So keep those out of reach, secured, put them in your medicine cabinet if you have to. But yeah.
I think that's
I'm sure
enough, right?
I know. Again, we will post. I mean, you can go onto like thebump.com. There's extensive lists. There's lots of lists and lots of good information out there. Lots of products available, and yeah,
so important.
So,
ER doctors everywhere
yes.
would tell you, baby-proof your home.
It takes half a second for them to get into something and. Or they're trying to climb on something, yeet themselves off of something else, like takes half a second. So keep that in mind, go through the house. If they can eat it, strangle themselves with it, jump off of it, they were going to try.
But hopefully, going through the list, talking about it room by room, will help people, make your own list as you're listening.
You're like, oh, I have that in my house. Let me double check that.
It'll be a lot easier than having to go through and try to think of each individual thing, because those lists help a lot, and you can just go straight to it and fix it instead of taking twice the time.
And again, if something happens, 911, of course, for your emergencies, and call poison control if you do have concerns if your child ate something, and we'll post that. But again, 1-800-222-1222 is poison control. So. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye. Thank you for listening today. The Rattled Nurses podcast is not intended to provide medical advice. It is not endorsed by our employer, and we are not speaking on behalf of our employer. Our commentary and stories are our own.
Also, on a serious note, we want you to know that if you are feeling blue or depressed, it is okay. You're not alone, and there's always someone to reach out to. You can call the National Maternal Mental Health Hotline at 1-833-TLC-MAMA, or text the crisis line, text HOME, HOME, to 741-741. Remember, you're doing a great job. Now go warm up your coffee.